Hi guys, today my son is going to be joining me for this book discussion. I have so much to do and I tried getting this all done during nap time today, but I just wasn't able to. It's like the only time I really get to shower, so I wasn't able to get it done. So you get little Liam today. Woo! 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 He's like broken apart his car. But anyway, so the book I want to talk about today is Paper Towns by John Green. So The Fault in Our Stars movie is coming out soon, and I did make a video about The Fault in Our Stars. I loved that book. I think it's one of the better books that I've read so far this year, and I really did love it. And so I was at Target getting some last minute things at the beginning of the month when I did my book haul. And there's a huge John Green display up in Target right now. And that's because The Fault in Our Stars is coming out soon. So they had all of his books. And they had this box set and it had 3 books, the paperbacks, 3 books. And they were Paper Towns, Looking for Alaska, and An Abundance of Catherines. So I read Looking for Alaska first because a lot of my friends recommended that book to me first off before I ever read The Fault in Our Stars. I read that book really quickly. It's a really short read. It's maybe like 200 pages at most. It took me just a couple of hours to finish it. I didn't really like it that much, to be honest. There's a certain kind of character that I really have a hard time reading about, and he writes those kinds of characters, and I hate that because I really enjoy his writing. He's such a great author. I love his writing style, but unfortunately the character archetypes that he has, I am not a big fan of. So that is why I didn't make a video for Looking for Alaska, because I don't really want to make a lot of videos about books that I don't like or I wouldn't recommend. But I went ahead, since I did take so much time and I read these books, I thought I would at least talk about Paper Towns. So in the beginning you meet our narrator, and I love the thing that I do like about John Green books is that they have male narrators. I really hardly ever read books that don't have a female narration, and I really enjoy it when I do find a book that isn't narrated by a female. I think that's why I read so many fantasy novels, is because they usually are male narrated. So anyway, so you meet Quentin in the beginning, and he's 10 years old, and he is best friends with his neighbor Margot. And they go to the park one day, and on their way to the park, they do come across a dead man, and he has shot himself. Whereas Quentin's parents are psychiatrists and have kind of helped him become a very well-rounded individual, Margot's parents are really lackluster. I want to say they aren't very supportive, and so they really probably went about this a lot differently than his parents did. But she went and became a little detective and found out about him, about his life, why he killed himself, all of those things. And so fast forward till their senior year of high school, and obviously they've gone their separate ways, as most friends that are boys and girls when they're small do. He is a quirky, nerdy guy. He hangs out, he's with the band guys, and they're really smart and play video games and all of that, kind of that character. And then Margot is super hot and unobtainable, and only dates like this jock guy and all of that. So, I mean, it's the same kind of character archetype in Paper Towns as Looking for Alaska. And so Margot comes to his window one night, their senior year, about 3 weeks before graduation, and she had just found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her with one of her best friends. So she enlists the help of Quentin, and he takes her all around town playing these pranks on her ex-boyfriend and her best friends. And they really connect, and it's also the same kind of story as in Looking for Alaska, where he's so good and does everything that he's supposed to and doesn't really rebel. So this one night he rebels and he gets so caught up in her, and the next day she disappears. So the rest of the book is about him trying to find her. And I liked this book a lot better than Looking for Alaska, but I really had a hard time getting over the fact that the stories were so similar. And really, they are. It's just the longer version with a different outcome. And it's just, everything about it was so similar to Looking for Alaska. The characters are almost exactly the same with different names. What are you having trouble? Hold on. Hold on, let me move that. Oh. So, I mean, it was really hard to get into it knowing that I didn't like Looking for Alaska that much. And knowing that the story was essentially the same, just with a different resolution and a different outcome. So, although I did like this one better, I mean, it was hard. It was hard to get into. I'm hoping that An Abundance for Catherine's isn't the same, but I'm probably going to hold off on reading that one for a little while because I don't want to be disappointed. I just don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to think that it's going to be the same. And although I did like this book, I don't know. I feel like it's the same. He's writing the same book over and over and over again. And he's such a popular YA author. He's always on the best-selling list. He is got so many followers on Twitter and YouTube and Tumblr. It's ridiculous. Everyone loves John Green. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a very talented author. I really enjoy his writing. Fault in Our Stars is one of the best books that I've read. But at the same time, he writes about these characters that I just can't relate to, and I don't want to relate to because they seem so pretentious and unobtainable. And I tried making a video about this earlier, and I just went on this huge rant for like 20 minutes about writing quirky girl characters that basically just make you not want to like teenage girls, and that's exactly what this is like. Reading this book, because all girls, especially teenage girls, it's hard to write about a teenage girl if you're not a teenage girl. So a lot of these times when I read books by male authors that are in the YA genre and they write about these girls, they write about this unobtainable girl that they see and they put her on a pedestal and write about her in a way that makes her seem like she's like this crazy princess special snowflake, when really she's just like every other teenage girl. But they do it in a way that makes it so unrelatable that she's almost unlikable. And the thing about Margot that is so similar to Alaska is that she is extremely selfish. She doesn't care about anybody but herself, and she doesn't realize how much the actions that she takes has effect on everybody around her. And so he goes on this journey trying to find her, thinking that she left him like this special message that she wants him to find her. That when it actually happens, she's like, no, I didn't want you to find me. Like, what's going on? Like, I wanted to be alone. I wanted to do this on my own. So, and it makes her just seem so selfish and self-centered, and it makes everything that she likes just kind of seem all that more pretentious. Because she's like this crazy, hot, unobtainable character, but she's into all these things that make her so deep and interesting. Like, she collects vinyl and reads Sylvia Plath and Kurt Vonnegut, and, is super into poetry and leaves him all these clues about women, and it's just... And he does a comparison, even in the book, about how, because he's reading Moby Dick in the book, so they talk about how he's Captain Ahab and Margot is his Moby Dick. He realizes it, and he completely becomes so obsessed with her and entranced in this entire situation of these few weeks that he completely disregards what his friends are doing and being a part of his friends' lives just to learn more about this girl that he barely knows, but he's obsessed with and in love with. And it just makes you not like her. It just does. It just makes you not like her. And I'm tired of reading about these quirky, special snowflake teenage girls because everybody feels that way when they're like 17 or 18 years old. They always feel like that one person that they're into is just so special and so not like anybody else, but really they're just like everybody else. Because I can tell you that when I was about 19, 20 years old, everybody was into Chuck Palahniuk and Bukowski and Vonnegut and collected vinyl and thought that they were so cool and quoted poetry all the time to make themselves seem so much deeper than they are. Because when you're that young, you know, you want to stand apart from everybody else, but what you're doing is just being like everyone else and just not, I don't know. It just seems so contrived and cliche, and I want to love his books because I do like him, but at the same time, it's just this such a cliched story, and it's, you can read YA novels that go all the way back. I've read books that were written in the 70s and the 80s that are the exact same story that are just so cliche of a teenage love story, and I just want to read something else. And after reading The Fault in Our Stars, I really thought that the rest of his books would be like that. That would be so emotionally charged, and I was just so disappointed by these character archetypes because although teenagers want to read about these people, they would never be friends with them in real life because they're just so annoying. Like, I would never want to be friends with Margot in real life. I would probably punch her. Same with Quentin. Like, he seems like a lot of my guy friends. He's super kind of nerdy, quiet, keeps to himself, really smart and educated, plays video games, you know, loves music, whatever. But at the same time, he's just so unlikable because he gets so caught up in this girl and gets so obsessed with her. It's like, it just becomes who he is. And it's just, it's not something that I think is a good example for kids, especially since these are really, you know, marketed towards that age group where, you know, that 17, 18, it's just, I just don't think it's a good example for kids to really read about. And, I don't know. So, I'm sorry this turned into like a 12-minute rant about how much I hate like special snowflake girls or whatever, but, you know, it's just, I'm really tired about reading that quirky girl character that, you know, kind of glorifies and glamorizes depression and not caring about her family, and doing her own thing means that she leaves everyone behind. It's really not a good message to have to young girls, especially since most of the people that read these books are young girls. So it's just not really a book I would recommend. I enjoyed it, but I mean, I probably won't be revisiting it. I definitely won't be revisiting Looking for Alaska. So I'm hoping In Abundance for Catherine is like better. I'm really hoping that I like that one a bit more. I want to read Will Grayson because that one seems actually quite different than the others, and so I'm kind of looking forward to reading that one. I just don't want to be disappointed. So this will probably be my last video for a little while because I have ECCC coming up in less than 2 weeks. So not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend. So I'm going to be driving over to Seattle in about a week and some change. The next video I have will probably be talking about the Divergent movie because I'm really excited about it. I love the Divergent books. I really loved them. So I'm really looking forward to the movie. And I'll probably have a video about ECCC as well because I love ECCC. It's my favorite activity I do every year with my brother and my boyfriend and our friends. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I have a Frodo cosplay for him, and I'm really excited about it. My boyfriend's making him an at to go around his stroller as well, so it's going to be super cute. But I hope everyone has a good weekend, and I'm sorry if I totally just bashed John Green in a way, because I really didn't mean to. It's just I know that I'm not 17 or 18 years old. I'm almost 29, and so it's hard for me to read about characters like this, unfortunately. And I'm just hoping that, you know, I can read more from him that is more like The Fault in Our Stars. So have a good weekend, everyone, and I hope that you have a good 2 weeks without me.